At the very moment when danger looms over this woman on a plane, turbulence strikes and a suitcase falls from the overhead compartment. Fortunately, a man nearby rushes to catch it, sparing the woman from harm. However, she ends up drenched in her drink and heads to the restroom to clean up. No sooner does she close the restroom door than the man begins his real work, fighting. It turns out he's a secret agent, and apart from him and the woman, everyone else on the plane is a criminal. For a top agent like him, dealing with these small-time thugs is a walk in the park. While the fight rages outside, the woman in the restroom hastily tidies herself up, sprays on some perfume, making herself look as presentable as possible, hoping to leave a good impression on the man outside. After leaving the restroom, she finds the cabin peaceful again, and without hesitation walks up to the man and kisses him. The woman named June is a car mechanic, and the man named Roy is a highly trained top agent. Just then, the cockpit door opens, causing June to wonder if something's wrong. Roy explains that he had to kill the pilot, which June initially takes as a joke and bursts into laughter, with Roy joining in before calmly walking into the cockpit. The plane experiences another bout of turbulence, throwing everyone in the aisle to the ground. June, terrified, rushes into the cockpit only to find the pilot dead and Roy now flying the plane. Roy assures her that flying is simple and instructs her to buckle up. Due to an ambush at the airport, he decides to make an emergency landing. During the landing, a truck blocks their path, forcing them to veer into a nearby field, but they manage to land safely. After exiting the plane, Roy hands June a drink to help her relax, but it's spiked with a sedative. Before she passes out, Roy warns her that when she wakes up, bad people will come asking for information about him. She must pretend to remember nothing and never get into their car. If they claim she's safe, it means they intend to kill her. June then falls into a deep sleep and the plane is destroyed. The next day, when June wakes up at home, she finds notes from Roy everywhere. She tries to act as if nothing happened, but as soon as she steps out, she's surrounded by a group of people claiming to be agents. Ignoring Roy's advice, she gets into their car. Shortly after, 2 agents are shot dead and another is targeted, forcing him to jump from the car to escape. With the car out of control, June struggles to steer. Suddenly, a motorcycle catches up and speeds towards a bridge, but only the motorcycle ends up in the water, with the rider landing on the car. It's Roy. He signals June to open the door, but in her panic, she doesn't listen. Gunshots ring out from behind and Roy returns fire. Entering a tunnel, another car joins the chase, shooting relentlessly at them. Roy repeatedly urges June to open the door, but when she finally does, it's knocked off by an oncoming car and lands on the windshield of the car behind them, causing it to lose control and roll over. June finally thinks to hit the brakes, but the rolling car crashes into them, narrowly missing Roy. Roy then leaps into the driver's seat, regains control of the car, and starts shooting at the pursuing agents from the roadside. Seeing the road ahead blocked, Roy executes a sharp turn to stop the car and engages in a fierce shootout, allowing June to flee. She seeks help from her ex-boyfriend, a firefighter, but before she can explain much, Roy catches up and forcefully takes June away. Just as they're about to get in the car, her ex-boyfriend chases after them. Roy shoots him in the thigh, the bullet narrowly missing the artery and bone, a shot that Roy claims will earn him a promotion. During the drive, Roy explains to June that all the restaurant cameras captured him taking her hostage, which means everyone knows she's just his hostage and not an accomplice, ensuring her safety. Initially, June insists on getting out of the car, but gradually calms down. Roy shows her a battery, not just any battery, but one with immense energy capable of powering a town indefinitely. The entire situation started because of this battery, invented by a genius high school student. Roy and another agent, Jack, were assigned to protect the student, but Jack planned to sell the battery and kill the student. Roy had secured a safe place for the student, but was framed by Jack when he went to retrieve the battery, making everyone believe Roy was a traitor. They arrive at the container where the student was supposed to be, only to find it empty, with formulas written all over the walls. Roy knows where to find him, but as June fiddles with a handgun, a group of men in black quietly infiltrates their location. Roy springs into action, firing his gun followed by a grenade, and hands June 2 magazines as they both charge out. After a fierce battle and running out of bullets, Roy reloads, hands June a gun, and tells her to wait while he looks for an escape route. Eventually, they are captured. In a daze, June sees Roy being hung up, but then witnesses the guards being taken down. They find themselves on a plane again, and Roy takes her skydiving. After landing in the sea, they speed away on a speedboat. When June wakes up, she's on a warm beach with Roy approaching her with 2 fish. June questions Roy about how she ended up in a sexy bikini, to which Roy explains that his training in the dark using small items to defuse bombs has made him skilled enough to dress her without looking. June throws a punch at Roy, which he dodges, and she storms off. She receives a call from her sister, but soon realizes she's on a deserted island, and her phone has been tracked by terrorists. With no escape, she returns to Roy and attempts a surprise attack, but he easily dodges her attempts. A plane soon returns, bombarding them with gunfire, forcing them to dive into the sea. They run to the mountaintop, where Roy has a helicopter ready. June is hesitant to board the makeshift helicopter, so Roy convinces her to rest first. Waking up again, June finds herself in a luxurious hotel. Roy tells her he needs to step out for a bit. June follows him secretly and sees him with a beautiful woman discussing the battery deal, which leaves June feeling dejected. On her way back, she encounters the agents from before. Doubting Roy and swayed by the agent's threats and promises, June agrees to cooperate with them. Agent Jack hands June a transmitter, which she can use to return to the hotel once she confirms Roy has the battery by pressing a button. Roy deliberately shows the battery to June, who presses the transmitter without hesitation, alerting Roy. June makes an excuse to go home, but suddenly a loud noise erupts as a group of fully armed agents storm in. When she looks again, Roy and the battery are gone. Outside, Roy is seen fleeing, with numerous agents quickly surrounding him. Eventually, Roy is shot and falls into a river. June feels something is amiss and suspects Roy is not dead. She calls Agent Jack, claiming to have the battery. As expected, she is captured but by a Spanish crime lord, not Jack. After a brief interrogation confirming she doesn't have the battery, Jack arrives. Although he doesn't have the battery, he has the high school student who invented it and convinces the crime lord to bring money for the exchange. Unbeknownst to them, Roy has been watching everything and decides to follow, silently eliminating 2 men when he realizes June is in their custody. After dealing with the last person, Roy and June make a break for it, riding a motorcycle through Spanish streets, dodging both gang members and a herd of bulls. They manage to escape by turning around just in time as a truck at an intersection moves away. Forced to evade their pursuers, they dash into a bullfighting arena, followed closely by the gang. The bulls charge at their red motorcycle, but Roy quickly exits the arena, and they nearly catch up to Jack before the gang members resume their pursuit. Roy instructs June to shoot at the pursuers while he maneuvers the motorcycle, skillfully evading their attackers. They leave all vehicles, both in front and behind, far behind. At the dock, Jack attempts to escape on a seaplane. In a desperate move, Roy jumps off a bridge, grabs a mast, and intercepts Jack. Jack demands the battery, threatening to kill the high school student. Roy reluctantly hands over the battery. As Jack gets the battery and prepares to leave, the student naively mentions he can make another one, prompting Jack to aim his gun at him. Roy rushes over, and at the sound of gunfire, June does too. The student, merely frightened, faints in Roy's arms as a plane explodes in the sky. The explosion is due to the experimental battery, which was highly unstable. Afterwards, Roy loses consciousness in June's arms. 2 weeks later, he wakes up in a hospital bed and the truth is revealed. His superiors visit, confiscating his phone to ensure he focuses on work. After they leave, a nurse enters who turns out to be June in disguise. She drugs Roy again. When Roy wakes up, he finds himself on a beach dressed in shorts. June runs towards him, explaining she once learned to install gearboxes with just pliers and a wrench, so she thought she could change his shorts without looking. They then drive off, starting an impromptu journey. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications so you can watch more videos like this.